Hi friends, hello. This is Shroomy and this is going to be my very first YouTube video. I had filmed a few time lapses before, but I never felt that serious. So yeah, this is it. I hope you enjoy what I get up to today, and please leave me any feedback that you may have so I can improve for my future videos. So yeah, I decided to do a little sketchbook spread where I use some watercolour. I hadn't used watercolour in ages, so I thought it'd be the best thing to film, I guess. So yeah, I went in with a brush pen. I found this lady on Pinterest. Pinterest is the best way to get inspired for anything. I just decided to doodle to warm up my hand a little. And yeah, I used some black brush pen as well as just a regular pen for some variation in the line weights. I then used some water here to blend out the black ink before it dried, because when it dries it doesn't blend anymore. As you can see, the further I'm going over the older lines, they don't blend out anymore. I then thought I'm gonna do a flowy tulip. Tulips and just flowy type flowers are the best to doodle as they also fill in sketchbooks. Again, I'm using the same process, using a brush pen, and then I'm gonna use some water for it as well to blend out some of those lines. But yeah, super quick doodles like these really help fill in your sketchbooks as well. You'd be surprised at how fast you can do it without making it really complicated. Especially if you make one main piece in the spread, the rest of them being doodles really helps build your pages. Here I'm using the Winsor & Newton little watercolor tubes. I have some of the dried paints already on there, but I really like using the tube paint because you can keep topping it up and like cleaning your little palette as you go. I decided to add some pink to the tulip, and then I also added it in the face. In the original photo, the lady's got like really bright, vibrant red makeup, so that kind of gave me vampire vibes. So yeah, I did her as like a vampire. But here I'm jumping in to the main painting that I wanted to paint. It was just a quick sketch that I did, and I didn't really change anything before I started to paint it. I know the proportions may be a little off, but I'm not a realism artist. I don't try and emulate, the photo or the inspiration exactly detail to detail. I just try and make it as I interpret it, as I see it, as well as the colors. So this photo that I used to get inspiration for this piece was from a website called Unsplash. It's a great royalty-free website where you can take images and do whatever. And yeah, so I used that because I really like the bright, like orange gingery hair. That really drew me to this picture, but I wanted to add my own ideas to it, so I decided to like bring in the leaves and like vegetation into the piece as well. I decided to add a more greenish blue background, as that really complements the orange and makes it pop even more. Here Here I'm adding some more details with a more opaque, darker colour, just to differentiate some of the features as it all started to blend in together. Same as the hair, just using a fine brush and adding more of the hair strands, as well as these leaves and like the little twigs and little branches, I guess. I'm not really sure what tree that is, but I just went with the flow. And here's a little real slowed down version so you can see what it's like for me when I paint in real time. I do actually work quite fast with my painting. Like when I was doing the hair, like it just flowed quite easily because I'm using a certain type of brush, which, for example, it's nothing specific, it's just like a gouache brush, but it creates really nice like shapes and the details. It's nice to use brushes that help with what you're doing. So hair and fur is easy with a more bristled brush, so it creates and helps you with the details. Here I'm also adding in more watered down paint to blend the background a little more after I added all the little leaves, just so that it, you know, it's not too complicated and detailed. I added some just white paint straight from the tube, and I just used it in the piece. As you can see, the white mixes in with the blue and creates these like swirly patterns, and I really like that. So I then also added it in the face for highlights, adding in more details, more shadows, more like shapes in the face. As well as adding these little berries. I feel like the berries make it just a little bit more complete. I've been adding like berries in a lot of my pieces. I really like it. It kind of gives like a different focus. And this is the best part, the little peely peels. So this is day number 2, trying to finish this sketchbook spread. It was looking a little plain, so I decided to add a couple of kitty cats. I love cats, so it just felt like a great addition to this piece. Also, this kind of gives me the Lady Gaga's role in American Horror Story. She's a vampire, and like the lady that I drew is also one, and these 2 kitty cats, I decided to make them look more vampiric also, and it kind of gives the vibes of Lady Gaga and her 2 twins, the little vampire kids. I don't know why, I just once I did this piece, that really kind of reminded me of of her. So yeah, I just decided to add some fish also, just in that little space, because it was just looking a little plain. So yeah. So I usually like to rub out most of the pencil marks, as it helps with the paint flow as well, because I feel like graphite and watercolor don't really mix that well, especially on like certain types of paper, I guess. So rubbing it out a little helps with the flow. So I just like very loosely added these colors. I started off with using the same type of tones for both cats, but then I decided to use a little pinkish peachy tone for the left cat, and then yeah, just add in some of the details and some of the colors. Again, these are very loose sketches and loose drawings. I'm not a precise artist. I don't try and get every single detail correct. I did use a couple of references for these cats that I saw on Facebook, but I literally just used like the very, very basic shape of the cat, and then I kind of like filled it in myself, as well as the other one. It's actually the same cat. You wouldn't be able to tell. It's just you know, I like to put my own, you know, idea to it. So when I use references, it doesn't look the same. But yeah, I'm using like a more purpley grey colour for the line works. I'm also adding a little bit of that blood to that kitty. I thought it kind of adds some interest to it. I by no means wanted to make this a gory piece or anything like that, but I kind of like the vampire idea of having the 20 cats being a couple of vamps. I've also been watching Vampire Diaries, like rewatching it for like the 50th time, and yeah, so maybe subconsciously I kind of went with the vampire theme because I watch it every night. I also added like a couple of bows and also like chain and a collar for the cats. I don't know why, I just thought it'd like make the piece more interesting. Here's me colouring the fish. I just went with whatever colour I had on the palette at the time. I just watered it all down and just started adding all the details. I like using watercolor because I really love the way that it dries, like creating these pieces, like patterns and like textures. I really enjoy the way that it looks. Yeah, so I'm adding a black brush pen. This one's a more fine brush pen, so you can get these tiny little lines with it. So I'm just adding that into the fish. And then the cats as well. I tried not to overwork these kitty cats because I didn't wanna do too much dark, like fine lines and things like that, but I wanted it to like fit into that spread, so I thought might as well. Here's me adding my little signatures. I really enjoy writing them out, and I had this like swoosh of paint that happened by accident, but it just felt like the perfect place to put a little signature. I didn't want to leave it blank. I wouldn't have added my signature on both pages otherwise, but it just like felt like it was the perfect place. Here's me using a Posca. I like to add some white highlights, especially in the eyes. It just makes the soul come through more, and you know, it makes it stand out. So yeah. I then decided that that wasn't enough and that the sketchbook page was looking a lot more plain, so I decided to add a couple of spider webs. I didn't really know what I was doing at first. I just tried to experiment and yeah, just add in some spider webs. I thought but it just like adds a little more interest and like brings the whole page together. Here's the little culprit, the little Spidey. So yeah, this video has come to an end, and I really hope that you enjoyed. This was my very first voiceover, so I hope I did well, and yeah, I hope to see you in the next video. Please let me know of any suggestions or things you'd like to see in my future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.